Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello everyone, welcome to Economics online classes. In the previous class we studied regarding the agricultural sector during before the British rule and after the British rule, pre-colonial rule and colonial rule. So we studied whatever the changes in the basic structure of Indian economy during the British rule and before the British rule, how India was a rich country and how it is bonded by the rich resources. Let us look at the industrial sector and how it is dominated by the British during a colonial rule. And what are the changes in the basic handicraft industries that we are going to study in this class. So, industrial sector we can see because Indians, most of the Indians, 16% of Indian people, they depends on the manufacturing activities. Means small scale industries, they depends on the small scale industries. Only 10% were dependent on the service sector. It means 80% of the people were dependent on the agriculture as their main occupation. But due to the changes in the overall economic conditions, it is because of advent of the British during the middle of the 17th century, 1757. British, they arrived to India and they started exploiting the Indians and trade with the Indians, and they wanted to drain our wealth from India. Thus, what are the changes in the industrial sector that we are going to look now? So, see here students, industrial sector during the colonial rule, very important for 4 marks. What are the condition of Indian industries during the colonial period? So, as we studied in the agricultural sector, as the agriculture is the base for the all economic activities of the human life in India, most of the people depended on the agriculture as their livelihood, and 80% of the people, they depend on the agriculture for their food and livelihood, and basic food crops they were going to grow. But after the commercialization of agriculture, British made them as a commercialized agriculture because to gain profit from the agriculture. Food crops never gives the profit, they came to know, so they started growing the commercial crops. That is said to be the commercialization of Indian agriculture. And they paid high price for our product, commercial crops only, and they are going to buy that product and they were going to do the finished goods in their home industries. So let us look at the industrial sector, how it is. So as you know that decline in the handicraft industries, most of the Indian people, they dependent on the handicraft industries and handicraft activities. Handloom, weavers, spinners and spinning machines, weaving machines, and at the low level ಗುಡಿ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಆ ಗುಡಿ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆ ಕೈಮಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಚಾಪೆ ಬುಟ್ಟಿ ಹೆಣೆಯುವಂಥದ್ದು ಅಂತ ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತೀಯರು ತೊಡಗಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಬೇಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೇರ್ ಲೈವ್ಲಿಹುಡ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ವೇರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್, ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್, ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ರಾ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್. ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲೇ ಸಿಗುವಂತಹ ಕಚ್ಚಾ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನು, ಸ್ಥಳೀಯವಾಗಿ ಸಿಗುವಂತಹ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಅವರೇ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್, ಕೌಶಲ್ಯ, ನೈಪುಣ್ಯತೆಯಿಂದ ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಗೂಡ್ಸನ್ನು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. So, after the decentralization of industries, so decentralization means ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. Centralization means ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ, decentralization means ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ. After the decentralization of Indian industries, these handicraft industries were closed. So, British, they came to know that when the Indian people engage in their own handicraft industries, then they may be indulge in that particular work and they were not supporting our work, means British work. So what they thought means they wanted to close the handicraft industries. So it is because of decline in the handicraft industries in India, most of the people were drawn out from the employment. It led to the unemployment problem and it is because of that poverty arise, no income in the hands of the people, poverty arised, and during the decentralization of Indian industries, handicraft industries closed and the basic industries they grown. Whatever the raw material processing industries only they set up in India. So just capital goods industries they started here just for the purpose of converting our raw materials, means processing the raw materials. Thus decentralization led to the low level of economic development in India and high level of economic development in British motherland, that is Britain. Thus handicraft industries were closed. It is because of that many problem arised, unemployment, people were only skilled in the particular work, then they thrown out from the jobs. That led to the poverty. If there is no income in the hands of the people, means that led to the poverty, people become poor. Now it is the time to British to dominate Indians. So this led to the domination and exploitation, domination and exploitation of resources and people together, domination and exploitation of resources together. It is because of closed in the handicraft industries. So cottage industries were closed, all the cottage industries were closed. So now people should depend on the British goods, whatever the goods produced and supplied by the Britain, that only depended on the by the Indians. Thus that is the main intention of the Britain people. To British, Indians should surrender to the British. That's what they declined the handicraft industries and closed the Indian base industries, handicraft industries, spinning, weaving, handloom, all the industries were closed. This is said to be the decentralization of industries. So next is discriminatory policy of British. So this is said to be the discriminatory policy, closing our handicraft industries and making the decentralization in the existing industries, and it led to the unemployment, poverty, domination, exploitation and close of all the industrial sector, low standard of living, low investment, and people now they don't know what to do. Like that kind of hesitation in the people of Indians because they were more ignorant and innocent. Thus discriminatory policy, this is said to be the discriminatory policy. What is discriminatory policy means? India should be act as the supplier of raw materials and market for the finished goods of Britain. Thus that is said to be the twofold policy of British. Twofold policy of British is nothing but India should act as supplier of raw materials to Britain. In Britain, they were going to make these raw materials to the convert that to finished goods and supplying that goods to the Indians as the finished goods. Now India should purchase that goods because handicraft industries were closed in India. Thus India should act as a market for their finished product. Now Britain discriminated and dominated India in twofold policy way. That led to the monopoly control on trade. It led to the monopoly control on trade. Earlier India is having the trade with some other countries, Europe and Asian countries. Now it is because of twofold policy, decentralization and discriminatory policy. Indian trade is concentrated only to the Britain because Indians supplying their raw materials only to the Britain. Like that way they turned our country into the colony. Thus monopoly ಏಕಸ್ವಾಮಿತ್ವವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಟ್ಟುಕೊಳ್ಳಬಾರದು ಅನ್ನೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಅವರು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು? ದೇ ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ಡ್ ಅವರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಿಕ್ರಾಫ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್. ಹ್ಯಾಂಡಿಕ್ರಾಫ್ಟ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ. ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಾಲೆಜ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಆ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಓಪನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಸುಯೇಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾನಲ್. ಸುಯೇಜ್ ಕೆನಲ್ ಈಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಸುಯೇಜ್ ಕೊಲುವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಸೊ ಅರ್ಲಿಯರ್ Before the opening of the Suez Canal, Indian trade with Britain was very difficult because they will go one round to whole other countries, then they will have go to the particular place. Now think that here is a Britain. Think that here is a British country, our dominant monopoly country. It is the British country or Britain. Think that it is the Britain. And here they made Suez Canal. Here they made Suez Canal. Suez Canal. Think that here is a India. Here is India. Think that it is a India, our country, colony. And Britain is a dominating country, ruler country. It is ruler country. India is colony. India is a colony of Britain. So it is difficult to trade with India before the invention of Suez Canal because they should go one round to trade with Britain. So after that in 1869 these British people, they with the challenge they made the simple route, sea route to India. They find a simple sea route to India through the Suez Canal. Suez Canal. This Suez Canal bring this foreign trade very easy. Whatever the supplying the raw materials directly from the India to the Britain. Instead of going around, it is very easy to trade with India. So because of that, opening of Suez Canal led to the easy movement of goods and service between the Britain and India. Easy movement of goods and service, it is because of invention of Suez Canal in 1869. Thus, not only these reasons led to the decentralization of industries in India, because of competition from machine made products by the Britain. In Britain they were producing the machine made products, capital goods industries they have. So they are going to produce the machine made goods and they are supplying that directly to the India because India only the market for their finished products. Indians are supplying the raw materials for them. So by that they were going to trade with India. Now Britain had monopoly control over their colony, that is India. It is a ruling country, Britain is ruling country, ruler, and India is a colony for them. Thus Indians should depend on Britain now. It is because of their discriminatory policy, twofold policy and monopoly control of trade, and opening up of Suez Canal made trade very easy and transaction of goods from one place to other place very easy. And lack of capital goods industries in India. It is because of lack of capital goods industries and manufacturing industries, handicraft industry were closed by the British, because if there is a industries, British they came to know, they were unable to control over Indians, because Indians were highly knowledgeable persons, they know that, but because of that they in the beginning they closed the handicraft industries. By closing handicraft industries led to the lack of capital goods industries in India, but they set up the capital goods industries in Britain. So by that capital goods industries, they were producing the machines and other finished goods and supplying to India through the Suez Canal. Now trade become very easy, see here. So industrial product were supplied very easily through the Suez Canal. From India to Britain, raw material supplied, and from Britain to India, finished goods supplied, finished goods. This is raw materials. So instead of going around, they find it and opened Suez Canal. It led them the trade very easy. So easy movement of goods and service between the colony and ruling country. Now it is very easy to control over the India through the monopoly, trade and twofold policy. Twofold policy is nothing but India is the supplier of raw materials and Britain is nothing but it is going to dominate Indians by producing the finished goods using the capital goods industries and some machine made products they were going to supply to the India, because India is a market for the finished goods of Britain. So this is just a brief note about the industrial sector during a British rule. So next we are going to study about how the foreign trade between the two countries. As I said, they used the Suez Canal for the trade. So Suez Canal made the foreign trade very easy, movement of goods and services between the India and Britain. So next class we are going to see what are the main challenges of foreign trade during the colonial rule and how the foreign trade before the colonial rule. So it is just a brief note about industrial sector, students. Decline in the handicraft industries. Handicraft industries were closed by the Britain or British people. This led to the unemployment, poverty, underemployment and domination, exploitation and close of all the cottage industries. And decentralization, discriminatory policy of British, that is trade should be with the single country, that is with the Britain. They wanted the India should be trade with only with the Britain. Domination policy. It is because they know that India is well in resources, rich in resources. Twofold policy. India should be supplier of raw materials and market for their finished goods. That also led to the lack of capital goods industries in India. India is just supplying the raw materials. Finished goods were prepared or product are produced in the Britain. Thus monopoly control over the trade by the Britain with India. Opening up of these Suez Canal made them easy movement of goods and services between the colonial country and and Britain. So competition from machine made products made them Indians were very dominating by the British, because all the machine made products were produced in Britain and they were supplying to India for just for the purpose of process of converting the raw materials, and after processing these raw materials they will send them through the Suez Canal to British. So this is just brief note about the industrial sector during the British rule. Next is about the foreign trade. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.